Hi, this is Dr. Mike Van Thielen. In this video, we will discuss the exercise controversy. Exercise is vital. Life is dependent on cell function, and cell function is always dependent on proper nutrition, assimilation, elimination, body temperature, etc. This requires that all the cells of the body are in perpetual motion or movement. It's our circulation that stimulates and perfects all vital functions of our body. The blood carries all nutrients and oxygen, and the lymphatic system carries fluids and wastes. Without activity, cell function is sluggish and impaired. Exercise is the most important tonic of the body, strengthening and invigorating the entire bodily system. Exercise is far more than building muscle though. It is literally body building. Every cell and fiber in the body is invigorated when exercising. The tone and quality of not only the muscles, but also the bones, the organs, the digestive system, elimination system, and every single tissue in the body is invigorated. Because exercise promotes circulation, it speeds up metabolism and therefore elimination. Activity assists in eliminating toxins and hastens the absorption of exudates and deposits. Exercise thus promotes optimal health, while lack of regular exercise promotes disease. Lack of exercise makes one weak and sluggish, metabolism slows down, cell functions are impaired, toxins build up, toxemia occurs, and the disease process takes form. While some people today have a sedentary job and lack exercise, others perform hard physical labor and are overworked. The sedentary ones are fat, bald, and fatigued, while the overworked ones develop injuries. These injuries occur because the activities performed are repetitive and specialized, only exercising certain parts of the body while neglecting others. The sedentary person needs to incorporate regular whole body activities or exercise, while the manual laborer needs to incorporate exercises that counteract the one-sided tendencies. It really doesn't need mentioning that animals in the wild and cavemen have plenty of activity hunting for their food and running away to avoid being another creature's meal. Everything is done by foot, and hunger makes one hunt. Industrialization and commercialization made us sedentary. Even our pets are fat, and they also became fat and lazy. The puppy is full of energy and wants to play around, while the older dog is lazy, fat, and fatigued and can't be bothered. Another concept that requires our understanding is the fact that well-developed and formed muscles do not necessarily indicate strength. Bulk of muscle is by no means a reliable measure of strength, and far less one of health. Strength comes from within. Strength refers to one's vital internal energy. This energy largely depends on clean food, clean air, clean water, plenty of sunshine, controlled emotions, balanced activity and rest, and absence of overstimulation and overindulgences. Without this vital energy, a well-formed and developed muscle lacks strength. A simple analogy is that of a motor and fuel. One may have a bigger motor, but without the fuel, not much will happen. The motor is useless. A smaller motor with fuel will accomplish much more. Keep in mind that a bigger motor has bigger potential, but also requires more and better fuel. Without this vital energy, one cannot expect any type of development either. It's not the exercise or activity that causes development. It's the internal vital energy that causes development. A newborn, for example, develops and grows much faster when sleeping more, since rest renews energy and activity uses energy. So exercise and activity only render occasion for development. Overdevelopment is impossible because when exercise is in excess and carried beyond the point of usefulness, vital energy depletes and exhaustion and atrophy ensue. Having said that, our organism always strives for perfection. So in order to obtain optimal health and strength, one must apply the rules and laws of nature. In order to benefit from exercise in relation to health, one must rest and sleep proportionately and live clean. Fact remains that exercise is a destructive and exhaustive process, consuming vital energy and breaking down tissue. Repair and recuperation of energy take place during rest and sleep. Rest and sleep are constructive. Both activity and rest are vital to health and life. Exercise, just like feeding, should not be in excess. In excess, exercise causes depletion of vital energy and consequently toxemia. Furthermore, exercise gives rise to more free radicals and therefore the consumption of even more antioxidants becomes crucial. Excess activity causes excess free radicals, damaging the cells and promoting disease, including cancer. Toxemia is accelerated unless counteracted by high-quality potent antioxidants. Top athletes only benefit from multiple workouts if these workouts are alternated with sufficient rest and sleep and an adequate supply of antioxidants is consumed to neutralize the damaging effects of the free radicals. Top athletes need to live by the clean living principles if they want to maintain good health and prevent disease. We can conclude that we then must exercise daily if we desire health, strength, beauty, and symmetry. These valuable commodities cannot be obtained without effort. Only useless stuff in life can be obtained without effort. That's why one should not be upset by the results one didn't get with the work one didn't do. Exercise should address all body parts, thus involve the whole body. If asymmetries and injuries pre-exist, one should make efforts to counteract these with specific exercises. Health thus includes an abundant amount of vital energy within the body, combined with a well-formed, lean, muscular, symmetrical body on the outside and a healthy mind, of course. Herbert M. Sheldon talks about 3 types of exercise. Hygiene exercise is whole body activity to promote entire system circulation and therefore optimize cell function and health. Educational exercise is the learning of new activities that involve coordination between the mind and body. When these activities are repeated enough, they become automatic. They become a habit. The mind is no longer involved and the muscles are trained to serve the mind. These activities increase efficiency and effectiveness and consequently preserve energy. Corrective exercises are exercises implemented to correct deformities, asymmetries, and faulty postures. The exercise controversy. Most physicians and healthcare professionals, including therapists, wrongly prescribe cardiovascular exercise to their patients that are post-surgical, obese, or are suffering from fibromyalgia. The literature and exercise physiology books, however, tell them that it's not the best choice. Cardiovascular exercise such as walking, jogging, bicycling, swimming, etc. at a low intensity for longer periods of time is a poor choice because this type of exercise has no bearing with activities of daily living. Cardiovascular exercise also demands too much energy from this type of patient. The post-surgical patient, fibromyalgia patient, or obese client has no energy reserves and is unable to walk for 30 minutes without depleting the body or without making the problem worse or causing injury. On top of that, inflammation occurs with continuous exercise exceeding 20 minutes caused by the constant friction between the muscles. The type of exercise we need to prescribe is the type that most effectively increases energy or ATP production in the tissues, thereby increasing oxygen levels and restoring full aerobic respiration of the cells. We are looking for the type of exercise that most effectively increases the number of mitochondria, which are the oxygen factories and nuclei in the muscles. That type of exercise is called PRE, or progressive resistive exercise. Yes, this type of strengthening exercise is far more effective than cardiovascular exercise for the post-surgical patient, the fibromyalgia patient, or the obese client. Don't believe it? Why don't you open that exercise physiology book again and learn that, quote, for every increase in muscle tone, there is a 40% increase in vascularization, end quote. This means that there's a substantial increase in the number of microcirculation pathways and in the lumen of existing blood vessels. This vastly improves the circulation of oxygenated blood to the affected areas. In short, PRE is more effective in improving cardiovascular condition than cardiovascular exercise. Emphasis has always been on developing endurance in patients, but strength must always precede endurance. If not, what's there to endure? A great example is the physical therapist dragging a patient with a cane or walker through the hallways of the hospital. What's the point? Should we not build strength first, and then, when the patient has regained the strength and is able to actually walk, build endurance? The physiological law of specificity of exercise states that, quote, performance of a task only builds limited strength in that task, end quote. In sports medicine, we always say, quote, don't play to get in shape to play, end quote. A football player does not just play football to get in shape for the new season. He does strength training, cardiovascular training, technical drills such as throwing the ball, receiving the ball, tackling, etc., technical training, and the list goes on. Each facet or component of the game is trained. So what is PRE? PRE is progressive resistive exercise. PRE builds the largest number of mitochondria, the energy production factories, and nuclei as a normal response to work. PRE is a type of strengthening exercise with emphasis on strengthening muscles in short sets, anywhere from 7 to 10 repetitions per set, with a high resistance or intensity, 70% of 1 RM. 1 RM is the weight with which we can execute one complete repetition but are unable to complete the second one. We take large rest segments in between sets, 2 to 5 minutes, to avoid draining energy reserves. And the total duration of the workout is very short to avoid inflammation. We also only perform a few exercises, but each one of those exercises addresses multiple muscle groups. In more detail, the resistance or the weight that we use is heavy, about 70% of 1 RM. And we should be able to complete 7 to 10 repetitions, but not much more. If it's too easy to complete 10 repetitions or more, the weight or resistance needs to be increased. As muscles become stronger, resistance is gradually increased. I recommend 3 sets of each of our 4 recommended exercises, which we will discuss in just a minute. Each set contains 7 to 10 repetitions. Start with 7 and gradually increase to 10 repetitions. If 10 repetitions become easy, increase the resistance. Make sure to take those 2 to 5 minutes of rest in between each set and practice diaphragmatic breathing while resting. I suggest implementing 3 sessions per week, totaling about 120 minutes. Now, what are the actual exercises that I recommend? The idea is to keep the total duration short while strengthening a maximal amount of muscles. I personally looked into the exercise our astronauts perform while in space. NASA recognized that 70% of all leg and pelvic muscles push, while 70% of all arm and torso muscles pull, and came up with the following exercises for the astronauts. Number 1, leg presses, such as a squat, address most of the muscles in the legs and pelvis, including the gluteal muscles, hip flexors, hip abductors and hip adductors, quadriceps, hamstrings, calf muscles, etc. Number 2, pull downs or lat pull, address most of the muscles in the arms, shoulder girdle and torso, including the wrist flexors and extensors, biceps, triceps, latissimus dorsi, pectoral muscles, deltoid, trapezius, rhomboids, etc. Number 3, back extensions address the paraspinal muscles of the upper, mid, and lower back. And number 4, abdominal crunches address the abdominal muscles. These 4 exercises address most muscles and muscle groups in the body and are highly effective. Your exercise prescription. It's very simple. Do what you like to do and incorporate activity in your daily schedule. It's not necessary to participate in an actual organized sport or go to the gym, but you can, of course. You just need to move, that's all. You may play in the yard with the kids, go for a walk, or enjoy any outdoor activity as long as you stimulate circulation. Ideally, you activate and use all body parts, not just the legs or the arms. This is your hygiene exercise regimen. That's all you need if you are in good health and you want to stay in good health. However, if you are in poor physical shape right now, you may need to select a more specific exercise program to regain normal physical condition. Most of us have poor form, poor strength, and poor physical endurance, so the above described PRE exercise regimen may be a great option to get started. Perform the PRE program 3 times per week and schedule a fun activity on the other days. Consider learning a new sport or a fun activity, such as learning to surf, paddleboarding, skating, spinning, or learn a dance and join some classes. This is called educational exercise. If you are obese, you need to ease into an exercise regimen. PRE and non-weight bearing activities such as stationary biking or aquatic exercise to prevent injury. If you suffer from any disease that causes fatigue and muscle pains, such as chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, etc., you need to start with corrective exercises and PRE and prevent energy depletion and prevent inflammation. If you have poor posture, obvious asymmetries, strong and weak body parts, or other deformities, you need to start with specific corrective exercises to regain balance and symmetry in the body. A knowledgeable physical therapist may be able to assist you in the right selection and execution of these specific corrective exercises. You may employ any combination of hygiene, educational, and corrective exercises. Of great benefit would be to incorporate diaphragmatic breathing. As a general guideline, start with 120 to 200 minutes of exercise per week, which is about 20 to 30 minutes per day, and gradually increase up to 300 to 350 minutes per week, which is about 40-50 minutes per day. You may divide 40 minutes of exercise per day in 2 sessions of 20 minutes, for example. Again, it's about movement and circulation. Remember that actively playing and running around in the yard with the kids or grandkids or playing some ball counts as exercise as well as a dance class. The more you exercise or participate in physical activities, the better your circulation and the better cell function and health. However, the more exercise or activity, the more rest and sleep one needs to repair and replenish energy reserves, and the more one needs to be aware of the extra free radical production. Make sure you alternate adequate exercise with adequate rest, and when you exercise regularly, you should consume enough healthy foods and antioxidants to neutralize the extra free radicals and eliminate toxic byproducts effectively. For more information on fibromyalgia and an easy to implement action plan to put fibromyalgia into remission, please visit my website mikevantielen.com.